Hello now, I'm Johnny Hunt and you're watching the Chord Melody Uke video channel. This is an instructional uke series that I've put together over the last couple of years. And today I'm going to do something a little different on this video. Rather than teaching a specific song, I'm going to teach something that can be applicable to just about any song that you might want to learn to play. And what I want to talk about today are chord inversions. What I want to teach today is 6 shapes, 3 major shapes and 3 minor shapes that all have a element of the chord. All the 3 different inversions have a root on the top, a third on the top, and a fifth on the top. And if that is gibberish to you, it's good to have a little bit of music theory and the understanding that major chords are made up of a root, like a G chord would have a G note in it. The 3rd degree of the G scale, which would be G, A, B. The 5th, which would be G, A, B, C, D. And so 1st, 3rd, and 5th for a G chord is G, B, D. A C chord would be C, E, and G. And we want to have positions on the uke where all 3 of those notes are on the top of the chord. So that's what I'm going to show you these shapes for. And you'll think to yourself, well, you know, that's a lot to learn in all the different keys, but it isn't, because the shapes are always the same. So that's the saving grace. It's not like you have to learn 6 times 12 different shapes. There's only 6 shapes that, again, apply to all different keys, all different chords. So let's show you what they are. And we'll start with, we'll use a G major scale. So here's our G chord that you're familiar with, 0, 2, 3, 2. And here's the elements of the chord. Here's a G, a B, a D, and a G. And on the top is another B. Okay, so that's a basic shape. You know, if we make it up a step, instead of a G, it's an A flat. It's the same shape. So we'll go through it first in G, and then we'll pick a flat key and to kind of hammer it home another way. So this would be our 3rd on the top, because it's a B, G, B, D, remember? So here's one shape. A modification of this shape to get a 5th on the top would be, so we're going from here to here, really. Instead of 2, 3, 2, which is the familiar G, it's 2, 3, 5. And if we're going from 4, 2, 3, 2, we can go to 4, 2, 3, 5. That's one way to make a G chord with the 5, the D note on top. Another way is to go 7, 7, 5. Which works fine for a G shape. We say, well, gee, what if you have a chord where you have to fret this string? Well, you have 5 fingers on your hand for a reason, assuming that you haven't had an industrial accident or some sort of birth issue to cope with all your life. And you can use your thumb to bar the bottom 3 strings. And that's a perfectly valid way to make that G chord with a D on top. So we got, so that's the 2nd position. Here's our B on top. Here's our D on top. And then the G, or the root on top, is just this bar across the fret. And then to have the root 3 half steps down, so it would be, in this case, 7, 7, 7, 10. And then if you go up the whole octave, you have the same thing again. I don't have a cutaway, so that's somewhat impractical. But that chord is just this G chord an octave higher. So again, here's our 3 shapes. Here's the middle one, same as this. So I've got the same note on top. Okay, so let's do it, you know, say just for argument's sake, you're stuck playing with a bunch of wind player, you know, trumpets and saxophones and those guys that are insistent on playing in keys with flats. You say, well, gee, I know all the chords I know have sharps in them. Well, you only got 4 strings and you have 5 fingers, so you got your strings outnumbered. So that, you know, it should have to be a losing battle. So instead of playing in the key of G, we'll go ahead and play in A flat, which is a half a step higher. So we just move everything down a fret. So here's an A flat with so A flat would be A flat, C natural, and E flat. And here's our C. So same as this, up a half a step. And then here's our E flat on the top, A flat chord, A flat, C, E flat. Same like we did with the G chord, be 9997. And then the bar is 88811. So any key you want to play in, you're still good. Key of A, B flat, whatever you want to do. So those are three of the 6 chord shapes you want. Those are all the major chords. For minor chords, the elements of a minor chord, very similar to a major chord. It's the root. So like a D flat has to have a D in it. It has a flatted third. So instead of a D minor, instead of having a F sharp like a D major would have, it has a F natural. And it's got an A. So we take the E string and play at the first fret. There's our F. So D, F, A. So that's our first shape. So it'll be 2, 2, 1, 0. Now remember, whenever you have a chord with an open string, you're actually fretting it at the 0 fret or the nut. So like a D minor, if you make it this way, then if you got it with your index finger free, you want to move it down. That's what you've got your index finger to bar. Even though you're barring all 4 strings, it's only effectively doing anything on this high string. So whether you make a bar chord or you make a 4-finger chord on this minor shape, it doesn't matter. So that's the 5 on top. There's the root on top. This is just a bar at the 5th, and you're using your ring finger 2 frets below on the G string. So in this case it would be 7, 5, 5, 5. And since it's a 4-finger closed chord, you know, you've already got the shape down for even the goofy flat keys that our friends in the orchestra like to play in. So that's the second minor chord inversion. And here's the third. It's harder, I'm still working on making the 4-finger version, so when I want to make this shape, I'll cheat. And I'll just play the top 3 strings until I can get re-equilibrated. But the form here is, you know, just like a major chord. You're just sliding the 3rd down, because we had what? Let's go back through the 5th on top, the root on top, and the 3rd on top. So it's not the triangle, but we're moving this 4th string down a fret. That's what turns it from the major into the minor. If you're making the full chord, it's just this same shape as, like, say a G7th would be. Moved 1 string up, and then drop the pointer in what would be, you know, in the case here it would be at the nut. would be in a D. If you want to do it in E minor, E flat minor, I'm sorry. And those are, there's 3 minor shapes. Put that together with your 3 major shapes, and you've got a leg up on doing just about any song in any key. The only thing you're missing are the notes in between. But once you get these shapes where you can change them readily and easily, you'll find that you can free up a finger to catch those melody notes. But that's a lesson for another day. And a lot of that is gained just by doing it and finding those notes. I don't really want to, it'd be like a 3-hour lesson, and that's too much for anybody to swallow. So work with those 6 different shapes until you feel comfortable with them and have a good understanding of what you're actually doing. So, get yourself a theory book or find an article online. You don't have to spend 4 years getting a bachelor's degree in music theory to get enough of a background to understand. But knowing a little theory changes the whole game from just learning by rote and not really understanding. So you understand what you're doing, and then when you understand the concept, you can apply what you've learned many different ways, and that's much easier than reinventing the wheel every time you see a different song. So that's what I recommend. So anyway, I hope you find this helpful. If I went too fast or isn't clear, I'm be happy to try to explain it a little bit more detailed way, one-on-one. If you send me an email, send it to chordmelodyyuke@yahoo.com, and I'll try to help you the best I can. So we didn't learn a song today, but I think there's a lot of valuable information on here that will help you and can be applied to learning very many different songs. So I'm Johnny Hunt. Thanks for watching, and tell a friend about the Chord Melody Uke video series. Thanks.